The ability to communicate well with others is one of the most important skills you can possess, and it is a learnable skill. As much as 85% of the success you achieve in your life will be determined by how you interact with other people, because communication helps people understand each other better and better. That's why it's important to master all elements of communication. They include who is sending the message and who is receiving it, or the speaker and the listener. The elements of communication also include environment, noise, context, feedback, and the mode of communication itself. Understand your audience. Who are they? Where are they coming from? What concerns them? What's of interest to them? What they need and want to learn from you? No matter who you're speaking with, your boss, your coworker, a group of people, or your own family, everyone communicates and receives communication differently. In order to master communication, you must be flexible with your communication styles and be able to adapt to who you're communicating with in order to be effective. Understand your audience by getting to know them. Listen to them. What is important to them? What are their pain points or concerns in life? What motivates them? Use this information to choose the words you would like to use, your tone of voice, and the topics that you'll speak about. The second rule to mastering the elements of communication is to think before you speak. In a world of constant noise and a rising number of voices, you want to make sure that you are heard. And the best way to ensure your voice doesn't get lost is to think clearly and understand what you want to say before you say it. You must learn to start asking questions and listen attentively without interruptions. As a rule, you pay attention to people you most value. When you pay close attention to another person when they are talking, you signal to that person that you very much value them and the content of their comments. This is very flattering to another person, and it causes them to respond warmly to your attentiveness. The major reason that most people have poor listening skills is that they're busy preparing a reply while the other person is still speaking. In fact, they're not even listening closely to what the other person is saying. They are thinking of other things and formulating their comments to be ready as soon as the other person takes a breath. Effective communication requires that you face the other person directly, lean slightly forward, and hang onto every word. Listen as though there were nothing else in the world more fascinating to you than what the other person is saying. In romantic relationships, by the way, this is incredibly effective. The very best conversationalists seem to have identified the knack of making the person that they're listening to feel as if he or she were the only person in the world. Good conversationalists can do this in the middle of a crowded room. The key is to pause before replying. A short pause of 3 to 5 seconds after a person stops talking is a very classy thing to do in a conversation. When you pause, you accomplish 3 goals simultaneously. First, you avoid running the risk of interrupting if the other person is just catching his or her breath before continuing. The second benefit is that you show the other person that you are giving careful consideration to his or her words by not jumping in with your own comments at the earliest opportunity. The third benefit of pausing in conversation is that you will actually hear the other person better. His or her words will soak into a deeper level of your mind, and you will understand what he or she is really saying with greater clarity. By pausing, you mark yourself as a brilliant conversationalist. The only way to learn to speak is to speak and speak, and speak and speak, and speak and speak and speak. And while it's true that the only way to become good at anything is by repetition over and over until it becomes second nature,
There are many things that you can do to be more effective speaking in front of audiences. The starting point in the art of public speaking is to pick a subject that you really care about. It's to think through the subjects that have had an extraordinary impact on you, the subjects that you would like to share with others, because you intensely feel that others could benefit from your knowledge. With this, you have a springboard off of which you can leap into your first public talk. Preparation is more important than anything else except caring about your subject. It's not unusual for a person to spend many hours and days and even weeks preparing for a single talk. If the first two parts of successful public speaking are caring and preparing, the third part is practicing and improving your presentation skills. Another way to become a great conversationalist is to question for clarification. Never assume that you understand what the other person is saying or trying to say. Instead, if you have any doubt at all, ask, "How do you mean?" Or, "How do you mean exactly?" And then just pause and wait. This is the most powerful question I've ever learned for guiding and controlling a conversation. It's almost impossible not to answer this question. When you ask, "How do you mean?" the other person cannot stop himself or herself from answering more extensively. You can then follow up with other open-ended questions and keep the conversation rolling along. Paraphrase the speaker's words in your own words. So after you've nodded and smiled, you can then say, "Well, let me see if I got this right," or "Let me see if I understand you exactly. What you're saying is this," and then you repeat it back in your own words. By paraphrasing the speaker's words, you demonstrate in no uncertain terms that you are genuinely paying attention and making every effort to understand his or her thoughts or feelings. And the wonderful thing is, when you practice effective listening, other people will begin to find you fascinating. They will want to be around you. They will feel relaxed and happy in your presence because when you listen to other people, you make them feel important. The reason why listening is such a powerful tool in developing the art and skill of conversation is because listening builds trust. The more you listen to another person, the more he or she trusts you and believes in you. Listening also builds self-esteem. When you listen attentively to another person, his or her self-esteem will naturally increase. He or she will feel better about themselves. He or she will feel more valuable and more respected. If you have a tape recorder or a player or a video camera, record yourself giving the talk from beginning to end. Then listen to it or watch it and make notes on how you could make it better. If you're using a video camera, look into the camera and use the same facial expressions and the same body gestures that you would use if you were speaking directly to someone that you like. When you critique yourself, be very hard on yourself. Remember, the more honest and objective you can be about how you come across to others, the faster you will build effective communication skills for success. Practice makes perfect, and perfect practice makes it even more perfect. If you practice consistently, you will find that your presentation skills have dramatically improved over time. Remember, your ability to speak effectively in front of people can do more to advance your career and your life than perhaps any other skill you can develop.
Now you have two choices. Either you can persuade others to help you, or you can be persuaded by others to help them. It's one or the other. Most people are not aware that every human interaction involves a complex process of persuasion and influence. And being unaware, they are usually the ones being persuaded to help others rather than the ones who are doing the persuading. The key to persuasion is motivation. Every human action is motivated by something. Remember, the first part of motivation is motive or a reason. Your job is to find out what motivates other people, the reasons, and then to provide that motivation. People have two major motivations, the desire for gain and the fear of loss. The desire for gain motivates people to want to do more of the things that they value in life.
They want more money, more success, more health, more influence, more respect, more love, and more happiness. Human wants are limited only by individual imagination. No matter how much a person has, he or she still wants more and more. When you can show a person how he or she can get more of the things he or she wants by helping you to achieve your goals, you can motivate them to act on your behalf. President Eisenhower said that persuasion is the art of getting people to do what you want them to do and to like it. You need always to be thinking about how you can get people to want to do the things that you need them to do to attain your own personal objectives.
The sound of your voice has a profound influence on the mood and receptivity of the person you're talking to. The mere tone of your voice accounts for fully 38% of your message. And if you're on the phone, it counts for almost 80% of your message, maybe even more. Now, who would you prefer to listen to? Someone with a high, shrill voice that pierces your ears and makes you wish you were somewhere else? Or someone who is able to charm you with a warm, full voice that makes you feel as though you're wrapped up in a cashmere blanket? It's no contest. Cashmere wins every time. What about monotonous and boring voices? Blah voices, we call them. They're sure to reduce both the attention and the receptivity of the listener. You have to use your voice the way storytellers do, with animation and color that makes whatever you talk about, even if it's just the weather or the stock market, sound interesting. When you want to sound friendly, warm, reassuring, intimate, or caring when you speak, keep your voice in the lower range where the deeper sounds are. The lower to middle tones are also great when you want to reason with the other person or show that you care or that you're being thoughtful. Also, remind yourself to slow down. It's very difficult to be close, friendly, warm, or thoughtful when you're speaking too quickly. Most of us tend to slow down naturally when we're expressing our deeper emotions, except for maybe anger. Fully 85% of your success in life will be determined by how you interact with other people. Communication is the master skill to powerful relationships. And here are the basic rules. Your ability to communicate with others will account for most of your success and will open every door for you. Even people who are in technical fields, such as computer programmers and engineers, spend as much as 75% of their time interacting with other people. All the successes in life come from good communication that cause people to like you and trust you and want to be involved with you. All the top executives who've been interviewed have said that their ability to communicate well with others is more responsible for their success than anything else. And wonderfully enough, how to communicate is a learned skill set. You can get better and better by learning what the best communicators do and practicing it until it becomes a regular part of your repertoire. Fortunately, since effective communication is a learned skill, sharpening your ability will only lead you to greater and greater heights of success. So how do you communicate more effectively with others? My favorite word in communications is the word clarity. Almost all of our problems in life become because of lack of clarity. We say things, but they don't come out clearly. So in order to be clear, first of all, stop, and then think, and then proceed slowly. Another great word is to rephrase or repeat something. Let's say you say something and somebody goes, huh? Or it's clear that they didn't get the message. I speak different languages, French, German, Spanish, and I'm busy working on learning Russian and Chinese now. And one of the things I learned in languages is if you say something in your limited language and they don't seem to understand it, rephrase it and say it again. And if they don't understand it, rephrase it and say it again until people go, ha, now I understand. So effective communication starts with you being very clear in your own mind about what you want to say, and then being very clear when you say it, and then saying it slowly and patiently, and making sure that the other person hears the message that you sent. So if you think about this, communications requires sending the message and having it received, and checking, and then sending the message back and having it received and then checking and simply going slowly. So it's better to be sure at every stage of the transaction that people are sending and receiving with tremendous clarity.
Think clearly and understand what you want to say before you say it. Think about what you want to say, who you're saying it to, and how to best say it in order for it to stick and for communication to transfer seamlessly from you to your audience. To keep you fully understand what message you want to share before you actually share it, spend some time researching and thinking through your topic and planning your delivery. When we want to see ourselves as effective communicators, sometimes it's hard to admit that we don't have the answer to something. We don't have the answer to everything. We don't have the answer to anything. And if you don't know something or aren't comfortable sharing your voice on a subject, it's okay to say that you don't know or that you don't know yet. It's better than trying to fumble your way through an exchange that could cause confusion and an even greater lack of effective communication. Tell the person that you're speaking with that you do not know the full answer now, but you will find the answer and get back to them within a specific time frame. Then, follow up by doing your research and returning to them with a well-thought-through answer. Following this process shows that you are genuine and builds trust, both of which are essential leadership traits and qualities.
One of the most powerful determinants of the future success of your business is the little understood phenomenon of word-of-mouth communication. Fully 90% of dissatisfied customers will not do business again with a company that fails to meet their expectations. The same study also concluded that on average, each dissatisfied customer will share his or her dissatisfaction with at least 9 other people. What this means is that the dissatisfaction of just one disgruntled customer ends up poisoning the minds of 45 other people. And today it's even worse because people can get onto the email and put complaints on email that can go to thousands or millions of people, and you didn't even know what happened. Referrals do not just happen. Waiting for the phone to ring is a lousy marketing strategy. If you want to build a pipeline of referrals, you must create it yourself. This means that you must ask for them. That's right, ask. And your most productive source of referrals to start with is your existing customer or prospect list.
Start asking questions that are good and pointed. And keep asking questions, one after the other. Many people think that they're becoming good communicators by asking lots of questions, but they don't leave any time for the other person to respond. When you leave time for the other person to respond, lean forward and watch the person's mouth while they speak. They will know and feel that you really care about the answer to the question.
Your mind can process words at 500 to 600 words per minute, and we can only talk at about 150 words per minute. It takes real effort to keep your attention focused on another person's words. If you do not practice self-discipline in conversation, your mind will wander in 100 different directions. The more you work at paying close attention to what the other person is saying, the more self-disciplined you will become. In other words, by learning to listen well, you actually develop your own character and your own personality. Do you know the one key to becoming a great conversationalist? The key is to pause before replying. A short pause of 3 to 5 seconds after a person stops talking is a very classy thing to do in a conversation. When you pause, you accomplish 3 goals simultaneously. First, you avoid running the risk of interrupting. The second benefit is that you show the other person that you are giving careful consideration to his or her words. The third benefit of pausing in conversation is that you will actually hear the other person better, and you will understand what he or she is really saying with greater clarity.